probably show you both in Lychee and in Chitubox. I know we have about 50-50, it seems, of people who use Lychee versus Chitubox. Some people use both. So I can show you here. And so if I drag in one of these strut towers, for example, so if we look, we would have to do a little guesstimation as to like the center to center distance here. But what we can do is if we select the object that we want to scale and we go to the scale tool here in Lychee, over here it's going to tell us our different our x-axis, our y-axis, and our z-axis, and we can see the corresponding colors here on the on this origin cube. And so we see that the red line is running the length of this thing, and so that corresponds with our x-axis here. So we see that this is 24.81 millimeters long, and let's say we need this to be 28 millimeters long. If I try and just change that to 28 and hit enter, you see it scaled everything up like 100 and almost 113% basically. That's not what we want to do. So I'm going to Control Z to undo that. I think that undid it. Oh, I can just hit the reset scale button. So what's happening there is we have uniform scaling checked, which means if I change any one of these dimensions, it's going to scale the entire part up in all three directions, that same amount. So what we would want to do here probably is turn uniform scaling off. And now if I change this to 28 and hit enter, you see it just stretches it. It doesn't grow the whole object. Now, if you look and see here, if we look at this right from the front, and I'm actually going to switch to I am an orthographic view. Okay. You see when we did that, it did this mounting point, which was a perfect cylinder, is now a little oblong. But in reality, in the real world, if you're not adding a ton of stretch to this, I don't think that's something you're even going to notice once it's installed in the model. So that would be how we would do that in Lychee. Now I can go ahead and open Chitubox as well. And it's the same process here in Chitubox. Let me get this switched over to the other monitor. There we go. So I'll bring the same strut brace in. So we're going to select the item, go to scale, and it looks exactly the same, right? Even our axes are the same because those are imported actually as part of the file. And so you see in Lychee it oriented it the other way, but the width of this strut brace, sorry, we see is still in the x-axis. So again, we see that 24.81 millimeter width. Down here in Chitubox, we would just uncheck the box that says lock ratio. And so now we're unlocked and we can hit 28. And in Chitubox, you don't have to hit enter. It just updates as you input your scale. And so there we now have a 28 millimeter wide strut tower brace. So,
as long as you don't go too far, it doesn't distort it that bad.
Yeah, like if we were to go, if we were to go to 30, you might start really noticing it.
Yeah.
There you can see that's, starting to get more noticeable.
Yeah.
But again, it's important to keep in mind that this is what, maybe, I don't have it right in front of me, but a millimeter in diameter. So really, that would be like full size. So, and I think I mentioned that last week or maybe a few weeks ago when we were looking at the previous file pack, and I know that it's easy for me when I'm in Fusion designing these things and I'm way zoomed in like this, it's real easy for me to forget that, well, I'm looking at this in 8x magnification right now. So, anyways, that is a look at scaling objects in a non-uniform fashion in the slicer.
That's cool.